Hey guys, so I've been reading some of the comments from the self-styled America First people on Twitter and other places. People like Tucker Carlson, people like Kim Iverson, however you pronounce her name, Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, Jackson Hinkle, these kind of types, right? And it's funny to me, like you have to be such a low life to not grasp that whatever Israel is doing is the byproduct of whatever they're doing is going to be good for you. Like you have to be, I don't know, either just a straight up Jew hater, disingenuous, or a complete idiot. Like, it doesn't make any sense, my friends. On top of that, these are the same people who are talking about, how Trump has to get rid of all the illegals, and they're all in favor of the ICE raids and all the rest of it. I'm sure they know, and in case they don't know, that Obama 3.0, the Obama 3.0 administration, let in, via the border, certain people who originated in places like Venezuela and Colombia into this country. These are Hezbollah operatives. And they're in our country. They're in America right now. And they're waiting orders. Now you can say, who are they waiting orders from? We destroyed everybody. We killed everybody. There's always new guys who can give the orders. There's always new people. So, my friends, now they can come back and say, well, the only reason they're here is because Israel is America's friends with Israel, and we support Israel. And if we didn't support Israel, then nobody would be attacking us, my friends. Like you're really not getting this. You're really not getting this. You have a regime, that flies in the face of everything you believe, who says, we're going to destroy you, the big Satan, so to speak. And you're upset that Israel did the work basically for you. Again, you could say, oh, America gave Israel the jets and all this kind of stuff. My friends, Israel was producing its own jets in the 80s and 90s. The American State Department told them to stop producing the jets. They forced them to stop producing weapons of their own. So I'm just wondering, guys, what kind of a low life do you have to be against this, to be against what's just happened here? You have to. It boggles the mind. It doesn't make any sense. If you're for America, okay, you don't want to be pulled into Israel's war. That's fine. You don't have to participate. Nobody's asking you to participate. In fact, my friends, I will put forth that any time Israel has done its own bidding in any conflict it's ever been in, without anybody's help, basically, it has won. Why? Because who else is helping Israel? The way the system works, guys, is when Israel goes it alone and relies only on Hashem, on God, it wins. When it relies on others, not so much. Not so much. So, my friends, no one's asking you to be in a war. No one is asking you to be in a war. If you're saying, well, America has interests in that region, So now, you can't have it both ways. You can't have it like, don't pull us in a war, but then, you know, be okay with the fact that America's putting, all kinds of assets, military assets in that area. You know, Tucker Carlson said, "Oh, it's going to cause countless American lives in the region." So get the blank out. Either get the blank out, stop being a hegemon, stop controlling. You should voice that opinion, right? For those of you against Israel attacking Iran, you should voice the opinion to your own, to the American government, saying, get out of the Middle East. If you don't want to be in any war in the Middle East ever again, get the blank out of the Middle East. And let the Middle East be the Middle East. Who's in the Middle East? Israel and all of its neighbors. And let them sort it out. Get out. Get the hell out. But here's the kicker, guys. And I saw this on a debate, or a talk. Adam King was speaking to this, forget his name, one of these Groyper guys. And he was saying, and I think what's his name was there, Dan Bilzerian, and he's trying to tell these bozos, by the way, we have something called the Suez Canal, right? Why do you think everybody cares about Yemen, about the Houthis? Because they're threatening all the ships going through the Suez Canal. Why do you think Israel now wants to build their own canal called the Ben Gurion Canal, right? Which they will control, right? My friends, we live in a world. We live in a global world. Not globalist. We live in a world. We're all interconnected, right? Okay, so now we understand why America has to be there in the Middle East, right? They have to patrol the waters because of international trade, right? Israel has to defend itself. You don't like it? Tough. You don't like Israel? Tough. You don't like Jews? Tough. But no one's pulling you into a war, right? If you wanna participate in international trade, you wanna be in the Middle East. You as in the American military. It is what it is. There's nothing else you can do. So, it's just bizarre to me, guys. It's really bizarre. The lack of, I don't know, just like, I understand these people hate Jews and they hate Israel, but even on a self-preservation level, the lack of seichel, as we call it in Yiddish, the lack of understanding of just like goodness and normalcy. Like these people are literally rooting for the Iranian regime, my friends. The Iranian regime will ruin their lives. If it was up to the Iranian regime, people like Kim Iverson, and people like, Jackson Hinkle and Nick Fuentes and all the rest of these people. Yeah, what's his name? Jake Shields, that's his name. And Bilzerian, they would all be dead. You'd all be dead. Tucker Carlson and Piers Morgan. It's just bizarre, guys. Isn't it bizarre to you? But I mean, it makes sense if you think about it from a Torah perspective. It makes sense. That's the only rational explanation, because it's all Amalek, right? People hate Jews. Their hatred of Jews, like, supersedes any logic that you may try to, attribute to it, or any logic, period, right? So, my friends, now we understand who Amalek is. Now we understand that it's the eternal and irrational and suicidal enemy of the Jewish people. This is who Amalek is, guys. Now that I've broken it down for you, on that level, because according to, if you think just on a surface level, it doesn't make any sense, this behavior. These comments, this behavior, these thoughts, patterns, these sentiments, it doesn't make sense for a person in the Western world to be against what Israel just did. It doesn't make any flippin' sense. Unless you understand that it's Amalek. All right, guys. Shabbat Hashem. We continue from strength to strength, success. Everybody should be safe, and Shabbat Shalom.